person made an interesting comment to me at a show I had at Merrimack College in Massachusetts, which was that after looking at the show, it caused him to think about furniture in a different way. And because he had always taken it for granted as something to use and never paid any attention to it. That's not an ultimate goal of mine, but it's a kind of byproduct of a bunch of other reactions, which are connected to this idea that you recognize that what you're looking at has something to do with furniture or a useful object that you've taken for granted and fit into your experience in a very convenient and kind of unthinking way, and it's stepped out of that category. The sculpture is stepped out of that category and challenges you to rethink your assumptions, I think.
And does that in some way mimic the fact that you almost went through that yourself, being someone who made furniture for a long time? Or
a friend of mine who's also a furniture maker turned sculptor remarked to me once when he was looking at things that I did, that one of the reasons he quit making furniture was that one of his favorite times in the process of making a chair or a table, for example, or a cabinet, was when he had all the pieces cut out and laid out on his workbench ready to assemble, and he liked them so much in their disconnected state, just as piles of certain sized pieces of wood with certain things that have happened to them in the process of his manufacture. And how is this connected with the question you asked me? But that had so much appeal to him, obviously just in a formal sense.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
It was just a collection of interesting shapes, and that in a way the final object, in some respects for him, even though it was the culmination of what he'd been shooting for, was less than what he had in front of him on the workbench when it was just a bunch of pieces. And to a certain degree, I think that same phenomenon happens when looking at some of the things that I've done, is that you're frustrated because you can't fit it into your past world of experience. You're sort of maybe even irritated that you can't use it, and you keep trying to figure out how it could be used. But at the same time, I think hopefully you have a different kind of experience and see the thing as a formal construction rather than as even though it's always trying to go back and forth between the useful and the useless.